Well, hello there, happy innovators. How are y'all doing today, huh? Are you out there in the world, fulfilling your responsibilities and getting things done? Well, I hope so, because I am. I'm sitting here at my desk, in my studio, with my cup of coffee, of course. Can't do a Singularity podcast without a cup of coffee. And, I've been thinking about this idea for a podcast over the past couple days where, I have this friend of mine who is in the process right now, unfortunately, of losing his eyesight or having problems with his eyesight. And, surgery is going to be required. And, it's a health issue, and it's probably something like cataracts or something like that. It's going to have to be dealt with. And, it really kind of got me to thinking, about this idea. You've heard the expression to count your blessings, but I think it's maybe, at least from my perspective, it's a little bit more than that, So I've decided to talk about a few things today that I like, things that I like. And rather than a redress of grievances or something, or belly aching about some technology that's frustrating me, today I'm going to talk about things that I enjoy, things that I like to smell, my favorite smells, my favorite aromas, my favorite things to look at, my favorite things to hear, my favorite experiences, things like that, that we usually take for granted and we don't put much stock in. But when we experience them, or, we smell something that we like, or we hear something that we like, or, etc., then we're reminded, and then maybe we remember a little bit more, we think about it a little bit, but then it's on to the next thing, right? So today, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to focus a little bit. I'm going to stop for a moment. And earlier today, I sat down and I kind of wrote down a list of things that I like, different smells, different sounds, different sights. And so the first thing on my list, the first thing that came to mind when I was thinking about this idea of, like, what if I couldn't see things anymore? What would I miss the most? What do I enjoy the most about this life that I can see with my eyes? And, I could sit here and go, I would miss my wife's face, being able to see her face, or the faces of the people that I love and care about, or something like that. But no, I'm not going to start there, although I would, miss those things. But what really comes to mind first was, yesterday my wife and I were driving down the freeway, and I just happened to kind of look at the sky at sunset. It kind of captured my attention, and I was looking at it. It was just so beautiful, sometimes, I'm sure you know what I mean, when you look at the sky, especially at sunrise or sunset, when there's some kind of event, some kind of change taking place. It's just so striking, it's so beautiful, and that's what it was like. I was just driving down the road and I was having a hard time concentrating on the road because I was trying to look as much as I could, up at this beautiful sunset with these, majestic clouds and shades and hues of orange and pink and red and just every color, every shade of those colors that you could imagine, it was gorgeous, it was just particularly gorgeous. And that is something that I think I would really miss, not too long ago, I saw this, YouTube video again, of course, of these glasses that they're selling Okay, there's special glasses that you can look through if you're colorblind, and it'll restore color to your vision. Okay, it sounds like a miracle, but it's real. This thing is real. These glasses are real. And they had these videos, of people who were colorblind seeing color for the first time in their lives. Seeing a sunset, or seeing their children, or anything. Like it was like a surprise kind of video. Like, here, Dad, happy birthday. Here's your new glasses. And oh, what are these? And he takes them out of the box, and well, let's go outside. Oh, why do I need to go outside? Let's just go outside. Come on, bring your glasses outside. Okay, and he puts them on, and just starts to sob. Like it's a miracle. All their lives they were experiencing the world without color, and then bam, in one split second, just putting these glasses on, it's restored, and they can see the way things really look. And like I said, you have these grown adults, these, in some cases, elderly people who went their entire life without seeing red, or blue, the basic colors, things we take for granted, right? And they just are overwhelmed by the beauty. Makes you think, it makes me think anyway. It should make you think though too. So I was checking out this sunset yesterday driving, and that's the first thing that comes to mind, but then that kind of leads me down this thread, what's next? What's next is probably my favorite thing to do. My favorite experience is to go to the beach, okay? And not a beach where it's crowded, right? Where there's all kinds of people, but a desolate beach where there's nobody, And as you're approaching the ocean, when you get close to the ocean, for all you landlocked happy innovators out there, when you're approaching the ocean, you're getting closer. The first sensory experience you get is the smell, okay? Because the ocean has a very strong smell, and it's not a particularly good smell, really, but it's a clean smell. It's salt air, it's, water, the smell of salt water. That, of course, has, millions of animals living in it, right? But you get that smell. And then as you get closer, you get the sound. You can hear the roar of the waves crashing, And then you get out of your car and you walk right down to the water's edge, and you get the wind, And you get this whole sensory experience, It's my favorite thing to experience. The sound, the sights, the animals and the waves crashing, and the wind, of course, the sensation of really strong wind, and the sound and the smell and the whole thing. It's like just sitting here at this desk right now, talking about it. It's like I can feel it, I can smell it. I can experience it just in my imagination. But let me tell you, there ain't nothing like going down to the ocean's edge, the real thing, Imagination is great and all, but man, what an experience. And if I couldn't see anymore, well, I suppose I would still enjoy going to the ocean, because I would be able to listen to it and feel the wind and everything, but it just wouldn't be the same without eyesight, now would it? This is one of those things I love, I just love it. And another thing I love, here's another experience I love. It's kind of similar, I guess. It's a sensory experience, but when I go to church, and there's the stained glass windows, oh, I love stained glass windows, and the smell of incense, and the windows, and the mood, the solemn mood, the solemnity of sitting in a building, like that, a structure like that. You have the paintings on the walls, and of course statuary, and like I said, the incense and the singing. You can hear the singing of Gregorian chant. It's happening right behind you, right up there in the choir loft. It's live, it's in the room, and it fills the room. And that's one of those things, kind of like going to the ocean. You get like a little bit of everything. You get a sight, you get a sound, you get a smell, you get a feeling, right? It's fantastic. I just love that. These are things that I like. I like that. I love statues. Anybody that knows me knows. I just have this thing with statues. Like wherever I go, no matter where I am, no matter who I'm with or what's going on, if I see a statue, I have to go over to it. I have to examine it and look at it, because I think there's like a part of me that really envies artists who can sculpt like really well. It's just one of those things. I don't know. I am fascinated by it, and a little bit jealous, a little bit envious of people who can really do that well. Because, making music is not really that difficult to do, really, and making a painting or something is not really that difficult to do. But working in a three-dimensional kind of object and trying to make it look like something, not a disaster, like some you want to look at it like something that's, good and well executed. Some of the great statues, picture them in your mind. They're just masterworks, and there's a lot of amazing sculpture and statuary all over the place. It's everywhere, and it drives my wife crazy sometimes, but she's patient, she knows. As soon as I see one, beep, it's like I make a beeline right for that statue, and I walk around it and I look at it and I try to examine as much detail as I can. I love it, I love statues. I love statuary, things I love. What else do I love? I love to swim. I love swimming. I am a fish out of water. I love to swim. I've never had a problem with it. I never had to learn. I was never afraid of the water. I love to swim, and I can swim for hours. And I used to when I was a kid. Oh my goodness, I swam so much when I was younger. Not so much now because I don't have a pool where I live. But, and I think as you get older, it's harder to come by like a really great swimming pool. It's hard to find. But when I find them, boy, it's really kind of hard to get me out of them. Once I get in, it's like I just want to stay there. I love it. Let's see, what else do I love? You know what I love? I love to watch people having fun. That's something that I've realized as I've gotten older. I like to have fun myself, and I like to be, included in that fun. But sometimes it's almost more fun for me to watch like a group of people that like I don't know and watch them all having fun together. It's like one of the reasons why I think we like weddings so much, or at least I do. I like to go to weddings because, everybody is so happy and they're together, and it's a large group of people all having fun, like there's harmony, I like that. It's something that pleases me to see, I'm not one of those people that's like, got a problem with society or something, and I like to see discord and chaos. I like to see harmony, it makes me happy to see it, You know what else I like? This is another thing. Oh my goodness, this is great. Have you ever had a day where you didn't have to do anything? Like you had absolutely no responsibilities whatsoever. A completely free and open day where you don't do anything. You don't do anything. The only thing you do is watch TV and eat good food. Maybe take a nap and go to bed early or something. You just don't do anything. Don't you love days like that? You know, I know my wife and I have tried over the past couple of years to dedicate like Sundays, you know, a day where we're not supposed to be working, right? Like we don't even go on the computer. We don't do any work. We don't do anything on Sundays. Most of the time, Sundays are just a day of laying on the couch, you know, sleeping in our bed, you know, just eating good food, just taking it easy, doing absolutely no work. And let me tell you, believe it or not, Sunday has become like the best day of the week. You know, it's such a great time and a great way for me and my wife to kind of reconnect a little bit, kind of get our heads together a little bit, laugh, you know, talk about all kinds of stuff, you know, just all day long, all day. You know, we don't have to go to the store. We don't have to go get gas in the car. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to go to the dentist. You know, we don't have to go anywhere. We just stay home, stay in our pajamas all day. We don't do anything. Oh, those days are delicious, man. They're awesome. You know, highly recommended. If you don't do that, if you don't take the time out of your week sometimes to have a day where you don't do anything, I highly suggest you do it. You'd be doing yourself a favor. It's amazing. It's an amazing thing to do. It's very simple, obviously. It requires no effort, and it requires no money. You know, you just you just enjoy each other and you enjoy your space, and that's it. And good food, you know? Good food. Oh, man. You know, speaking of good food, okay, so what do I love? I love good smells. So what are some of my favorite smells? Things that just, as soon as they hit my nostrils, it's like, oh, what a wonderful, wonderful smell, you know? And the first thing that comes to mind, believe it or not, is cilantro. You know, the herb, you know, that plant that you can use in cooking, you know, like salsa and stuff like that. You know, this really strong smell. I know some people that don't like cilantro. They don't like the way it smells. I'm not one of them. I love it. It's like such a clean, fresh smell. And we cook with a lot of cilantro in our house, so you know, it's like every time I get a bunch of cilantro for whatever it is that I'm going to be cooking, like before I chop it up or before I do anything with it, I always grab it and just like stick my nose in it and smell this awesome, awesome smell. But then, of course, like once you start to cook with it and you start to heat it up, oh man, it fills your house with this awesome, awesome smell. Much like garlic, you know, there's a lot of people who don't like garlic. I love garlic, and I love the smell of roasting garlic. You know, I love that smell. It's just like whatever I'm cooking with garlic, as soon as you put the garlic in, it's like, oh, my mouth starts to water. You know, you can smell it cooking with the juices of the meat or whatever, and the garlic and all that coming up into your nose. Oh, what a heavenly smell, garlic. And it's really good for you too, by the way. I guess that's what I've been told. You know, garlic is a superfood, you know, so it's not only does it smell really great, but it's good for your body too. You know, I think it's good for cholesterol. We eat a lot of garlic too in our house. I cook with a lot of garlic and a lot of cilantro. I guess I tend to cook with the stuff that I like to smell. I have to analyze that a little bit. I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? I would cook with what I like to smell. Yeah, sharp as a razor I am. Anyway, what else do I like? What other smells do I like? I like the smell, I shouldn't say I don't like it. I love the smell of pipe tobacco. You know, when someone is smoking a pipe, it's different than cigarettes and cigars and, you know, all the other stuff that you can smoke, you know. Pipe tobacco is just such a pleasant smell, you know. Unfortunately, I'm not one of those guys who likes to smoke a pipe. But maybe when I get older, I don't know. My hair's starting to turn a little white. You know, my wife was telling me the other day, oh, your beard is almost all white. I'm like, really? I didn't even know. I thought it was just blonde. Oh, no, it's turning white. Oh, great, thanks. Actually, I don't mind. I can't wait for my hair to turn white. It'll be nice. Whatever hair I have left. Oh, you know what else is a smell I like? Oh, here's one. You know, when you have a grill and you're grilling chicken. Oh my gosh, the smell of grilled chicken. Like chicken on the grill that's like, you know, cooking. Oh, what a smell, isn't it? It's fantastic. Fantastic. Or the smell of like a fire, you know, like the carbon smell of a fire and the wood, the smell of wood that's burning. You know, it's just such a great smell. I think it's like some kind of primitive smell. You know, it's like it hits some kind of primitive sensory thing in our brains. Like when we smell fire, you know, it's like, wow, we've been smelling that smell as humans for so long, haven't we? It's amazing. You know, it's amazing smell. Also, too, I like the smell of like candle carbon. Like when you have a candle, so we have candles like all over our house. We actually have this really great place that sells candles, you know, around us called the Yankee Candle Shop. I'm sure they're available all over the world now. In fact, I know they are because I've actually asked people if they have them. The Yankee Candle Shop, and they sell these candles that just smell so great, you know. And I don't know if you know this or not, but like I live in a log cabin, you know, so my walls are all logs, you know, it's like they're wood, you know. I don't have much drywall or sheetrock in my house. It's all wood, you know. So the wood just really kind of absorbs the smell of these candles in our house. And we've been lighting candles in our house for so long now, these Yankee candles, that the house is like inundated with the smell of these awesome candles, you know. And I like that a lot, but what I like even more is that smell, like when you blow the candle out and the carbon and the smoke starts to rise off the wick, you know. One of my favorite smells in the world, let me tell you. It is such a great thing, you know, when you blow out a candle and it fills the room instantly with that smell of a candle that has just been blown out. One of my favorites, man. One of my favorites. Yeah, see, what else do I love to smell? Okay, the last thing I'll say, okay, I make pot roast, okay, and I make it really well, okay, and I won't say that about many of the things that I cook, but one of the things that I can cook really, really well is pot roast, you know, with potatoes and carrots and sometimes broccoli, you know, and of course garlic, right? And onions, you know, you got to get that in there. But I'll tell you what, you put this pot roast in the oven for about 3 hours, okay, a real slow cook in the oven, and it fills the house with this smell, you know, after a little while, where it's like, you know, you walk around the house with your mouth watering, you know, just you can't wait till that 3 hours is up and you can start finally eating this awesome thing that you can smell that's filling absolutely every corner of the house, you know. It's like the smell of home, you know. When your house is filled with the smell of something great that's cooking, that's the smell of home, you know. Do you know what I mean? You probably do. You probably do. It's not unique to me, I'm sure. It's something that we all experience, right? Oh, let's see. What else could I talk about? Things that I love, things that I like a lot. Okay, sounds. What kind of sounds do I like? Now, I'm sure you'd probably assume, like, oh, you know, I like music, you know? Yeah, I do like the sound of music, that's true, but that's like kind of like lame. I'm not even going to go there because there's so much music anyway that, you know, I couldn't put it all in a podcast. But there are other sounds that I like even more than music, you know, and some of them are kind of silly, I guess, a little bit. One of the things I love to hear, and for all you husbands out there, you know, maybe you can relate to this, but I love to hear the sound of my wife breathing, like when she's sleeping. I love to just listen to her sometimes, Maybe she'll snore a little bit, or she'll breathe, and then she'll stir a little bit and start breathing again, like that rhythm of her breathing. And just sit there in the silence sometimes, I do that in the dark. I'll sit there and I'll just listen. Just real quiet, listening to her breathe, I love that sound. I don't know why. I also like the sound of my wife laughing, Whenever my wife laughs, it's some kind of weird sensory thing or something. It's some kind of weird brain thing. When I hear her laugh, it makes me happy. It just makes me laugh, It fills my heart with joy. And it doesn't matter what she's laughing at. It's just her laugh when I hear her laugh. And I suppose I'm usually like that with other people too. Like when they start to laugh. I like to hear people laughing and having fun, but it's different with my wife. You know what I mean? Something about that woman and her voice and her sound, It's primal. It's in my brain. It's hardwired into me, I like to hear her saying my name too, For all you husbands out there, and I guess wives too, when your husband says your name, you take it for granted, I don't. No way. I don't take for granted hearing my wife say my name, because, there is that possibility that someday I may not be able to hear it anymore. So it's really kind of, I guess a little mushy, but hey, it's what I feel, right? It's what I think. This is about what I like, the things that I like to hear. I like the sound of my father's voice. There's something about my father's voice that's very calming, and very subdued and gentle. My father's a very quiet guy. He doesn't do a lot of talking, but when I talk to him, we talk for hours and hours, and we laugh and laugh and laugh, and I just don't take for granted, being able to hear that voice, hear him say my name, hear my father say my name, talk to me. It's very, very cool, very, very endearing, thing. And I don't take it for granted. It's something that I do think about, and it's something that I love. I love it. I love to hear my mother's voice too, but it's for different reasons. My mother is kind of like a silly lady sometimes, She's kind of a brat. She kind of likes to misbehave a little bit. And, she's probably arguably a little spoiled, by my father, But I like that. My father spoiled my mom. So, like when I talk to her, the tone is just a little bit different than with my dad, She tends to get a little bit sass-boxy with me, and I get sass-boxy with her. And, we can kind of, we can take shots at each other and laugh the whole time, So, things I love to hear, the sound of my parents' voices, my father and my mother, especially when they say my name, or especially when they're laughing, Do you know what I mean? I hope that you feel the same way about your folks, or I hope there's at least somebody in your life that's like that for you, because that's how it is for me. Yeah. So now we come full circle, back to this idea of things to see, the idea of taking our vision, our eyesight for granted, We shouldn't do that, folks. We shouldn't do that. We should pay close attention and be careful, to not take it for granted. And, you should try to, right? We should try to get the opportunity to see those things that we love to see, and hear those things we love to hear, and smell and taste. Ooh, that's one I didn't cover now, isn't it? Things that we love to taste. But oh wait, that reminds me, there was one more thing I wanted to mention. Okay, good smell. I do a lot of cooking with a lot of Chinese and stir fry and those kinds of things, right? And sesame oil. Oh, have you ever smelled sesame oil? You use it to cook when you're cooking Chinese food or something. You cook with, instead of regular vegetable oil or canola oil or grapeseed oil, you cook with sesame oil. And, oh my gosh, the smell of it alone. And then when you start to heat it up in a pan and it starts to rise, like that smell. Sesame oil. Anyway, things that I like to taste. Ooh, how could I have forgotten this? Because, while smell and taste are very closely linked and connected, they're not quite the same thing, because obviously with smell you don't get the texture and the flavor of something, So, really quick before I sign off here, I'll give you a short list of things that I really love to taste. And man, I gotta tell you, just thinking about it right off the bat, one of the best things there is to taste, in my opinion, is a strawberry milkshake. And I'm not talking about one of those milkshakes that's made with that stuff that comes out of a bag. You add water and it becomes a milkshake. No. I'm talking about a real, bona fide, authentic milkshake made with fresh strawberries. Okay? In the summertime, when it's really hot, there are a handful of places near where I live that make a really great strawberry milkshake. All right? There's no shortage of them during the summer. And let me tell you, I probably gain about 10 or 15 pounds every summer just from eating those milkshakes. Let's see, what else do I love? The taste of and the texture. Oh, you know what I love is sauteed mushrooms. Do you like sauteed mushrooms? Do you like mushrooms at all? Oh my goodness. Oh, the flavor. I'm getting hungry. Barbecued ribs. Oh my gosh. Do I love the taste and the texture of barbecued ribs. Or a really loaded, well-baked potato. With cheese and sour cream and salt and pepper and the butter. This is terrible. I'm getting so hungry just thinking about this. You know what else I love? Here we go. I love a great breakfast. I'm talking the works. I'm talking bacon, sausage, potatoes of any kind, whether they're shredded hash browns, potatoes O'Brien, fried potatoes, anything, even potato pancakes, with eggs, either eggs Benedict or sunny side up or whatever, with toast and a big old hot cup of coffee. Or sometimes, I know this may sound weird, but I really, really, really like to eat my breakfast and have a glass of Pepsi, an ice cold glass of Pepsi instead of a hot coffee sometimes, Like every Saturday and Sunday in my house, we have great breakfasts. During the week, it's a little rough shot, it's like hit or miss, but the weekends, breakfast is a big deal. I love a good breakfast. And of course, I love the taste and the texture and the aftertaste of a nice hot cup of coffee. I like to take my coffee with a little bit of cream in it, maybe a little bit of sugar sometimes. My wife drinks it black. I don't. But I'm going to take a sip right now. I have this mug too I have two different coffee mugs. Okay, although I have a cupboard full of coffee mugs. Okay, really nice, sometimes expensive coffee mugs, like Fiesta ware coffee mugs, and gifts from people from over the years, those stupid mugs that say like, over the hill and off the pill or something like that. I have a coffee mug that says over the hill and off the pill. I think that's pretty funny. I've had that since I was a teenager. Somebody bought it for me as a gift, and I still have it, I don't really use it that much, but lately I have these two coffee mugs. One of them is black, and the other one is this like handmade pottery thing that came from Ohio, which there has a separate story to it I can tell you really quick. But my black mug right here, can you hear that? That's my black mug. It's my favorite one lately. It's my go-to, my A mug, and right now it has about half a cup of coffee in it. I'm going to take another sip. My other mug that I use, because I only use two, I rotate them, right? The other mug I had was a gift. Actually, my wife had gotten it from somebody or something when we lived in Ohio. It was her mug, and it was like just the right size for me. So I was like using that, and she didn't mind because she didn't use it. And it kind of became this coffee mug, okay? It's a coffee mug, it's only a coffee mug, but not really. Okay, because this coffee mug that my wife had that I was using all the time, it kind of became like a joke. It kind of became something that we would laugh about. Like, she would make sure my mug was clean, or, she would grab the mug and make sure, here's your mug, Mike, here you go, And so it kind of became like a, as much as a coffee mug can, it became kind of like endeared to me. Because it was from my wife, and it was this funny thing we did. And one day I was walking around the house, and you know what I'm gonna say. I took a corner a little too fast or something. My elbow hit the wall, and the mug went flying in the air, and it hit the ground, and it smashed into like a million pieces, right? And I felt so bad. I mean, it's just a stupid coffee mug, right? But I felt so bad. I'm like, but that was my mug. That's my favorite mug. It's gone. My favorite mug is gone. What am I gonna do? So listen to this. You know what my wife did? She went online. Now you have to understand, this mug was like, it was from a it was from a car dealership in Ohio. Okay, they were giving them out as a promotional gift. My wife happened to get one, probably when she bought her car or something. And so they were hard to find. They were made by this pottery company in Ohio. I forget what they're called. Maybe it's Longaberger. I think that's the name of the company or something. And it's like they're famous all over the world, really, for this pottery that they make in southern Ohio, where my wife got this coffee mug. So as soon as I broke that mug, I'm like, there's no way we're ever going to find another one. There's no way to replace it. But sure enough, my wife went online, eBay or something, and somehow she managed to find me another mug. So now I have two mugs. The black one, which, like I said, that's my go-to mug, right? And then my other one from Ohio. And now, because my wife actually found it for me, and she was able to kind of, replace this mug that I had destroyed. I glued the other one back together again, by the way, and I turned it into like a little pen holder, little pencil cup, So I still have it, but yeah, two coffee mugs. I'm a two coffee mug man, And of course, all black here, and then I got that other one, and I take this seriously, This is my coffee mug. I mean, this is a part of my life, man, Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm talking about coffee mugs. Things I like to see. Yeah, that coffee mug filled with coffee right in front of my face. That's something I like to see. Anyway, so I think I've rambled enough for a day. I guess kind of a simple Singularity podcast today now, wasn't it? But we had a little bit of fun, right? So with that, folks. Have a great weekend, y'all. Take care of yourselves. Stay out of trouble. Behave. Try to get some sleep. And maybe think about that idea of taking one day off a week where you don't do anything. You don't do anything. Nothing at all. You don't do anything. You don't go anywhere. You don't see anyone. You don't talk to your friends. Nothing. You just stay home in your pajamas, watch TV, and just relax for an entire day. Right? There's plenty of time during the week where you're not going to be able to do that. So think about it. My wife and I have been doing it, and let me tell you, it's a game changer. It really is. It really is. I'm not being funny. I'm serious. That is actually, if I could ever give you good advice, that would be some of it. Take one day a week where you don't do anything. You're just with the people you care about, and you just lounge all day long. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you go here and get on with my day. Talk to you soon. This is Mike Bostwick from Pipe Choir Records signing off. And remember, folks, if you want to keep what you've got to give it away. Take it easy.